This is Ravens Flock Talk Podcast, coming to you every week with their thoughts and opinions on each and every Ravens game. Tune in weekly and join the flock.
This is Ravens Flock Talk. I am your host, Brandon, and my dad joins me as my other host. And finally, this is the episode we've been waiting for since we started this podcast. It's wild that this is the first time we're reporting a Ravens win against Pittsburgh. But man, in the biggest moment of the season, where you need it, where you gotta have it, the Ravens pulled through against their nemesis. And this has just been a great feeling. It's been a great feeling, and I'm so happy for Lamar, most importantly, John Harbaugh, this organization, and the fan base.
Yeah, if you can't tell, we are pumped up. This is what we've been waiting for. So happy for Lamar, Brandon, to get up over the hump. I mean, this was his defining game. He's 1-4 against Pittsburgh. He was getting a lot of criticism, Brandon, but now he's up over the hump, going into the playoffs on a high, and we're on a high because, Pittsburgh, they always seem to have our number, but not this time.
Yep. And finally, the ball bounces our way right from the jump of the game. The first drive, we're trotting it down. We're looking good. Lamar drops back, and boom, stripped. I mean, Luckily, we got the ball back on all our fumbles, but right from the jump, you're going, man, we just started this game, and it's already looking like a typical Ravens-Steelers game. You can't even settle in yet before you see a fumble or some misfortune happen.
For all you old heads like me, this is a typical Pittsburgh game where they come out, they strip us, we're fumbling. It changes the whole tone of the game. The ball always bounces their way, and we're saying as Ravens fan, oh, not again. Yeah. Not again. This is the same old thing. But this time, ball bounced our way, Brandon. And I'm happy to say that. I mean, I am just still pumped.
We're not used to saying that.
Yeah,
when we play Pittsburgh.
Waiting for this game Saturday. Short week. We were just waiting for this game, and we had to win this. We just had to win this game. So yeah, let's get into it, Brandon.
Yeah, the Steelers are the one team where you get up early for, and you get giddy about. Because this is the best rivalry in the NFL, and it has been for since I've been alive, last 2 decades. So I want to say this. Honestly, the turning point in this game, a lot of people would talk about the Marlon pick, which we'll get into, but it was Darius Washington causing that fumble at the goal line.
Yeah.
And, I feel like if it was in the middle of the field, Russell would have slid. But because he was right there at the goal line, it just felt like he's going to try to get in. He's already there, right? His eyes probably got wide. He's like, I'm going to make this guy miss and score this touchdown. And Darius, now he had the pick last week and the play of the game this week. I just can't say enough about this guy to step in and take over Marcus Williams and to make the plays he has been. This secondary has looked night and day from the beginning of the year to now, as well as this defense as a whole. Credit to Zach Orr. He's been, had big shoes to fill, right, with McDonald going to Seattle, but I just can't say enough about Darius. That was a tremendous play, and thankfully we recovered it for a change too.
Yeah, in terms of Orr, Dean Pease really helped him out, giving him some confidence there. And I can't agree with you more, Brandon, with Washington. I mean, he stepped in this role that was so critical on the 2-yard line to stop their momentum going in, because we were going back and forth to that point, and they were about to score. They were going to change the whole game again.
Yeah, I think they were going to go up 14-7, I believe, at that time of the game. So it was huge.
I mean, those turnovers. Let's face it, the first game they won because of turnovers. So this game we had the turnovers.
Yep.
And that's what dictates a Pittsburgh Ravens game.
Yep.
It always does. Who makes the most mistakes? Who has the most turnovers? So happy to see the Ravens finally get over the hump with Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So,
Lamar Jackson. I mean, someone told me today, we are witnessing greatness.
Yeah.
We really are, and we kind of have taken him for granted these last few years because we're so accustomed to seeing it. But I mean, he is just a remarkable player. And it's going to be hard whenever he retires or he goes on the decline to watch another quarterback after him, because it's just like,
Hey, Ravens fans, we are
you're spoiled.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
I was going to say, we are spoiled. You remember the days when we had 6 or 7 different quarterbacks in the last 4 or 5 years?
I remember
I mean-
I was jumping for joy when we got an old Steve McNair.
Yeah, Steve McNair.
I mean, I was so desperate for a
Randall
quarterback.
Cunningham. I mean, we're talking about
Bowler, Gerback,
Gerback, old heads.
Testaverde.
So we got all the recycled quarterbacks, and now we finally and I really think Pittsburgh's in that mode that we were 4 or 5 years ago, because they don't have a premier quarterback. Russell, he's old.
Who's in his prime.
He's not in his prime anymore. So they're searching for that young quarterback that's in their prime. By the way, Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
you don't have it yet. So we're now this guy Lamar, he's young. 2-time MVP, probably should be 3-time MVP this year. We'll see. It doesn't even matter, because all the Ravens fans want, Brandon, is a playoff win and going to the Super Bowl. And we want a Super Bowl win for this man. He has done everything he's could. He's making better decisions right now at the later stages of the season. Glad to see him running more. Glad to see him taking control of the game. And this was the game he needed to take control of. Right? Pittsburgh, you have no room for error. And Lamar, he had 1 pick, okay. But some of those dime throws he made in critical situations just determined the game and the outcome of the game.
Yeah. You just can't say enough about him. You can't say enough about Derrick Henry. Derrick was he was running like he was like foaming at the mouth, and I really do think his performance against Pittsburgh, our first matchup this year, really affected him.
Yeah,
I think he took it personal, and I was just like, wow.
He was running like a man possessed.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, I mean, the first 2 runs, and the holes that Pittsburgh had in their defense was uncharacteristic of them.
They had a lot of injuries on
Yeah.
defense, but I mean, the holes, it was like it was like Moses.
I mean, I
parting the sea.
can
It was
imagine how he
crazy.
felt going in the beginning of the game. He was like, "Is this really how it's going to be?" And
Yeah.
T.J. Watt, he was injured. He wasn't himself on the right side, but Henry was running on the left side of the line, away from him, and still gaps. So you got to give the offensive line credit on that regard. But Henry was a guy possessed. I think he had 160 something yards, 164 yards,
162 yards.
yards.
Longest run was 44 yards.
Right, and right after that run, Brandon, is when Lamar threw the interception.
Yeah, we completely just
Yeah.
flipped the script with throwing it, and then you're thinking, oh my God,
Here we go
we
again.
just gave it to him.
Yep.
We
But
just
then
gave
Humphrey
it to him.
came through with that interception to change the whole flow of the game again.
Yep.
And that solidified the
And
win.
Marlon, I mean, so the first one was against Cincinnati, the big pick that we had in Cincinnati early in the season that flipped the game. He had the end zone interception on Baker Mayfield when we were down 10-0 against Tampa Bay, and we never looked back after
Right,
that.
in the end
We ended
zone,
up
yep.
blowing them out.
Yep.
And then this game. So he's had some game-changing interceptions.
Yeah, we're hard
when
on
you need it
Humphrey
most.
sometimes, Brandon, with some of his coverages but he is a sure tackler when he wants to tackle. And they were hitting hard, man. They were hitting hard. Humphrey had some huge tackles. Kyle Hamilton. What can we say about this guy? I mean, he was hitting hard. He had that huge pass
breakup. And that play, I don't understand. I think it was fourth down.
Yeah, why Pittsburgh went for it all like that?
I mean, if he was open, and Russell's known for throwing these like lollipop type throws that just float in the air, and he's got the best deep ball still, in my opinion. But that ball was just a little up there too long.
And Kyle came
because
through,
he was open
once again.
Calvin Austin was open on that play.
He was open when you see it.
And Kyle came
wasn't
out of nowhere.
Yeah, he wasn't even in the frame on the TV when you first see it. But then all of a sudden he came out of there with his length. And
I'm just shocked and with how how many times we see teams throw over on us over the middle.
Yeah.
Always. And I think it was 4th and 4. That's all you need.
Yeah.
So they helped us out.
They went for it all. That's
Yeah.
not in Tomlin. That's not characteristic of Pittsburgh,
True.
right? They're especially Russell too. He dinks and dunks all the time. But I tell you what, Kyle came through. That was just unbelievable. And he had some one-on-one tackles, Brandon. He's a sure and he was hitting hard. I mean, this was a hard-fought game like we always know to be, you know. So I can't say enough about Kyle. I am just so impressed with this guy. And let's talk about Mark Andrews in the red zone especially. This guy has really come through in the red zone. I mean, the last 3 to 4 games, I believe he's had at least 2 touchdowns now in the last 4 games in the red zone, and now he's the go-to for Lamar. We were waiting for that. I mean, he was the go-to for years, but after he got injured last year, it took a while for him to come back. So I'm really, really happy about that.
Yeah, it seems like the Lamar Mark Andrews connection is back and clicking, and it's like a perfect balance with him and Zay. Because I felt like when we had Hollywood Brown, like Lamar would target Hollywood a lot, but he had a better connection with Mark. But now it just seems like he's just on point with both of them. Everybody is just in sync with each other, and you don't walk away from that game or recently going, you know, Mark Andrews is like, it's like 80% Mark and 20% Zay. You know, it's like a perfect balance between our top 2 guys. And then you mix in Bateman on some explosive plays these last few weeks, and you're just a complete offense.
And our key players really came to play on this game, and that was good to see because Zay had a tremendous game as well, along with Mark Andrews. He had, 5 or 6 critical catches, one where he got a face mask to get an extra 15 yards to put us in a position to get a touchdown. So he's sure-handed, he's tough, and he's reliable. And that's what we need on a wide receiver. And he's got speed. So you take him, you take Bateman, likely had that touchdown and the first touchdown wide open. I mean, if you really put this team together with their key players, we don't need one premier wide receiver or one guy that takes over the game like a Chase for Cincinnati. We have the weapons that if they spread it around, it's good to go.
Yep. Yeah, Zay, 5 catches, 100 yards. He was just, he was just all over the place. He was involved. He was engaged and pumped up, and He needed this too. He even said, he says, they say you're not a Raven until you beat Pittsburgh. And so it's kind of wild that that's the first time that these guys got the win over Pittsburgh, you know?
Yeah, I didn't hear that, Brandon. That's cool to hear because that is true for these young guys that don't know the history.
Yeah, because of the rivalry and the pure hatred for one another. On defense, I mean, Kyle Van Noy, I can't say enough. I honestly would be lying to you if I said that I thought he was going to have a similar, if not better, year than last year. And the reason is because we lost Clowney, we lost Patrick Queen, and I'm going, Van Noy's not in his prime.
Right.
And so before the year, I'm thinking guys like Ajabo, who he has good pressure this game. He did well. In a way, going to have to routinely and consistently show up to help a Van Noy because of his age and he's not in his prime. Yep. And I mean, joke's on me because he has been better this year. I mean, tough guy. I just can't say enough about Kyle Van Noy. Roquan, again finishes with the most tackles this game. You mentioned Kyle Hamilton, but the way this secondary and this defense has flipped the script from beginning of the year till now is something that I never thought they would do. I mean, if you look at the stats and stuff, we're at the top of the league now in categories that we were at the bottom of in the beginning of the year. So with the Dean Pease pickup to help Zach Orr is feeling more confident. I just can't say enough about the way this organization has made the adjustment on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I can't agree more. And when Tom Brady gets on and talks about Van Noy, that's a credit to him. And he even
former
mentioned,
teammate, too.
Yeah, he mentioned a broken eye socket, which Van Noy had, right? Yeah. So that displays his toughness out there. And he's an older guy, let's face it. So, yeah, can't agree with you more. He's really, really helped this defense. He's a leader on the defense. Roquan is the leader. He had a good game, too. and it was good to see that. These guys are being consistent, Brandon, throughout the games, and now toward the end of the season, we got a fresh Derrick Henry. I tell you what, Derrick Henry was just something else on this game. And they say that he's fresh because we used him sparingly on the last few games. That should be scary to the rest of the league.
I really like that because the Giants game, we didn't need him. So basically, it seemed like to me we were preparing him for this physical game, knowing what's on the line. Yeah,
you just made me think of Todd Monken. Sometimes he's hot and cold with us, but this game he really utilized Henry like he should have. In the third and fourth quarter, we were just pounding him second and third downs and using him like you should use Henry, and that's how he exploded for that 44-yard run because he's wearing people down. So I was glad to see Todd, stick to his game plan. We're always on his case about that. Stick to the running game. It was working, especially against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
So,
Pittsburgh had a lot of people banged up on the defensive side of the ball, but the holes were huge. One more point I want to make on this game. I had said there's no way Pickens is going to miss this game. And it's crazy to see how night and day that offense is without him on the field. So when we got the news that he wasn't playing, you had to win this game. And even though Bateman only had the one catch, it was a huge catch. He was questionable coming into this game. And he has had, honestly, you could probably say the same, if not more, explosive plays than Zay this year, because it just seems like whenever he catches it, it's like some explosive, huge play down the field, making guys miss. And I'm just finally happy to see this guy finally come into his own because we've been waiting as fans for him to show us something and stay healthy too on top of it. So it was nice to see him actually catch that ball with all the questionable, is he going to play or not leading into this game?
Yeah. I'm just totally impressed with the key players on the team. Henry, what I'm impressed about with him, Brandon, is his speed. Once he gets to the secondary, this big man, I can't believe how fast he can run. And so that was a good sign. Justice Hill, I hope that he doesn't have a concussion for the next game, which is
He
Wednesday.
probably is going to be out.
Yeah.
And so with that being said,
Mitchell,
come on.
Mitchell's got to step up.
I don't know what they're doing with him. I don't know if he is just like, if they're like kind of coddling him with the injury, or or he can't go. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But now that Hill's out, we got to see Mitchell, because when they brought in Ali, they were not giving him the ball no matter what.
And Ali just doesn't look like either one of the running
First
backs.
of all, he didn't get the ball, so I'm not.
He did get it once. It was a garbage run that he made, 2 or 3 yards.
I'm not going to judge him off that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, obviously, the Ravens were not going to lose this game giving a guy like him the ball.
Oh yeah.
So we love Mitchell. The Ravens love Mitchell. So I want to see him.
Yeah.
Let's see him as a secondary back, because Henry looked a little gassed.
And that's why they put Ali in, because they just gave him a little spare, time off.
Well, yeah, but because Hill went out early in the game.
Yeah, no, I'm saying toward the end of the game. That's the only reason why they had Ali out there, Brandon. So they gave Henry a little blow on that on a couple series, but Mitchell, like you said, has to come. Now you just can't save him. Now you got to play him. You have no choice.
I know you're heading into the playoffs. Yeah. This is a weapon. Let's use him.
And Houston's banged up now. So
yeah. But I want to talk about really quick. As you mentioned, Houston, we have 2 favorable games compared to what Pittsburgh has to go through, with Kansas City next and then Cincinnati. So we could hop to that number 3 spot, which would be huge. And it's just looking good for us. This was a game that you needed to win for that reason, and not just, for the sake of the AFC North. So it's looking good for us, like you said, with Houston banged up. And you just hope they take a hold of this opportunity and don't shoot ourselves in the foot if Pittsburgh loses. Because if they lose, and we will know before our game, because they play at 1 o'clock on Christmas. We play at 4:30. So we'll know the outcome.
Yeah.
And if they lose, you talk about
motivation
to go out there and kick some butt.
Yeah.
So with a Houston team that seems like they're on the decline heading into the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brandon, we were on pins and needles last week waiting for this game, hoping that we're going to win. We did win. I think we're peaking now at the best part of the season, going into the playoffs. So I'm very much more optimistic than I was last week until we finish this game with Pittsburgh. It's a short week, 3 days. We're playing Wednesday. This is Sunday. So I tell you what, I can't wait again, because if we win on Christmas Day, then we have a really good chance of going into the playoffs with a huge momentum. So.
Yep. You want to click at the right time. It seems like this team is doing that. And really, for the first time in a while, doing it without major injuries for a change, which is nice to see. So finally again, I just want to say again, we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got the win that we've been searching for a while. And this feels a lot better because of how we lost our first matchup this year, with Tucker missing all those field goals, our beloved Tucker, right, to do it against that team. So we just got to go out and score, basically.
Yeah.
Just go out and just score, and this team, it can be unstoppable. And you know what? We thrive as a sleeper too. I think, yes, there's a tension on us, but we're not the number one seed like we were last year. And I think this team as an underdog has some sort of grit and swagger to it that's different for some reason. That's what we are known to do.
And the last thing I'll say, Brandon, is I like the way we're winning, because we're our own worst enemy when it comes to losing. And when I look at the Chiefs and Pittsburgh, the way they've been winning, they're just skating by. They're just squeaking by. But the Ravens, we beat ourselves with penalties, and the way we lose. It's like, come on, we should be Chiefs, with that record they have.
Yeah.
And they know how to win. Now, to their credit, they know how to win. To Pittsburgh's credit, they know how to win.
And that helps
in these
the
close
playoffs.
games. Yeah. So we have the better talent. To me, I think we have the better team.
But you know what? The last thing I'll say with the Ravens this year is we've won on both sides. We've won close games, you know?
Yeah.
And we've also blown people out too. Mm-hmm. So we've been on both sides of it, and this team now as well-rounded to face a close game and to know when to step on the pedal and just blow another team out of the water.
Yeah.
So we've been through it all this year. We lost games we shouldn't have lost. We've come back. We've squeaked out close wins. Kansas City has literally, as you said, won the same exact way throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
But the thing is they have experience in previous years, right? So now the Ravens, we are getting into our own, and we are developing week by week by week. And this win, I think, is really going to be a big win if we look back on the season.
And I don't want to put any more pressure on Lamar, but in reality, it all depends on him, his decision-making, whether he wants to run the ball, pass the ball. It's all in his hands, because he has the talent. He has the skill set.
Yep.
So when it comes down to decision-making and leadership, it's all on his shoulders. And that's the way the Ravens are going to go. It is what it is.
Yep.
And when you have Superman behind center, he's got to perform. And if he performs, it's a done deal. So, yeah, don't want to put any more pressure on the young man. He is very young, but he has the ability to take over a game.
Even though he's young, he's gone through a lot of experiences already in big games that a lot of young quarterbacks
have not
gone through. So, that's it for us. This is a memorable episode because of the Steelers and how much it means to us. And you'll be hearing from us soon. Happy holidays. We'll probably record the day after Christmas, maybe 2 days after. But yeah, we're staying busy with this crazy NFL schedule that they have dumped on us. But we got the win we needed, and I'm very confident that the next time you'll hear us, we'll be first in the AFC North. God willing, cross our fingers. Thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning in, and we will speak with you shortly.